Hello and welcome back. I'm glad you decided to tune in again. Last time we talked about what the word bless means, and we discussed how it means for God to give favor to something or to ask for God to give favor over something or someone. Um, so today I want to talk about the first instance where a blessing occurs in the Bible. Um, and this is actually in Genesis chapter 1. And something interesting first before we really get into this, I wanted to ask a question. Uh, what separates man from the other creatures in the creation story? Um, Most of us would answer that and say, "Well, man was created in the image of God," and that would be correct. But there's also one more thing that separates mankind, and I didn't notice it until I was doing this study. But God blesses man, and so that's an important separation between man and the other creatures. And so, with that, would you open your Bibles with me, if you have them, to and go to Genesis chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 26. Uh, Verse 26 says, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created he him. Male and female he created them. Notice how many times it says created in the image of God. You think that's an important thing, right? Um, but in verse 28 here, this is what I want to focus on today. It says, and God blessed them. This is the first time this is ever said in the Bible. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in it which is the fruit of the tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and every thing that creepeth upon the earth, where there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So I want to back up now to verse 28, and we can notice some things. It says God blessed them. Um, and then you see the word and then comma, and again. So we see that whole part, that whole verse 28 there, that's all part of the blessing. And I want to talk about these parts of this blessing today. So the first part is that we see that God blesses them and says, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And so God is literally saying to Adam and Eve, do your marital activities and replenish the earth, have children. And so part of this blessing is God gives mankind a family. And it's really potent to me that the very first blessing that ever happens in the Bible is a family. The very first part of that blessing is God gives mankind a family, or the ability to have a family. And I think that's awesome. That just shows us how important our families are to God and how we should be treating our families. But notice here, God doesn't just make kids appear like Adam and Eve appeared. Adam and Eve had to have kids, and so that's an important part of that too. God's also giving mankind a job, uh, and so the second part also plays along with this. Uh, it says, uh, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And so we see here the word subdue and the word dominion. I looked these up, and the word subdue means to bring under control. That's fairly obvious. Subdue, right? Um, but to bring under control, and then the word dominion is basically to have sovereignty or to govern or to rule. So I find it interesting that the word subdue, what he first says, is bring it under control, and then have dominion, have under control, basically. Um, and so, what this tells me, what this should tell all of us, is that God didn't just magically snap his fingers and say, okay, you automatically have control over everything. No, God gives man a mission to bring it under control, then have control, then keep that control. And so that's a very interesting thing there. That is a blessing, and we can notice this many times throughout the Bible that work is not a bad thing. Work is a good thing. Uh, God has given mankind many jobs throughout the Bible, and the first one was to bring the earth under our control, to make it work for our purposes. Um, and so that is not necessarily a bad thing. As long as we are staying focused on God, we can work on that stuff, and that's good. And as long as we give glory to Him throughout all of that, that's what His plan was. Remember, this is all before the fall of man. And so these Adam and Eve at this time were in right relationship with God. And so subduing the earth and making it work for their purposes, that was fine. Um, Now man is sinful, so uh, we need to get ourselves right with God first, and then our work can be glorifying to Him. Um, but getting back on the point here, that all of this was a blessing to mankind. So God blessed mankind through giving him a job. God blessed mankind through giving him a family to take care of, through the ability to have a family. And so really, it just shows us how important it is for us to work and have our families to take care of, and shows the whole family dynamic there, that how important it is to God that we do these things. With that, I hope you will tune in with us next week. We're going to go over some of the other blessings in the Bible, and just little short videos, and we can learn a lot from these. Thank you.